Hello viewers, and welcome to this episode of Cooking with Mark. Today we're going to be making pizza. We're going to start from the scratch. We're going to make our own base, and it's base is really easy to make. Base is just flour, a little bit of sugar for the yeast, some warm water, and some salt. So we'll start with the yeast. What we need is 300 mils of warm water. You need 2 teaspoons of sugar. Now the sugar, what that does is that actually feeds the yeast and makes the yeast activate. Now what the yeast does is we want to aerate the flour so that when the flour, we cook it, it actually rises and we get a nice fluffy dough, not a real hard base. Just mix the yeast in to the water. And what we're going to do is going to put that in a nice warm place for the yeast to activate. As you can see at the moment, there's no bubbles on there. When we come back to that, it takes about 15 minutes. There'll be heaps of bubbles on top, which means the yeast is actually activated and it's eating the sugar. Okay, now for the rest of the dough, we need 4 cups of flour, a tablespoon of salt, some oil. So just some vegetable oil or canola oil, doesn't matter what you want to use. So 4 cups of flour. Doesn't have to be exact. Make a well in the middle, and we'll need 2 tablespoons of oil, but before we put that in, we wait for the yeast. So we'll come back in about 15 minutes time and we'll show you what happens. Bye bye. So welcome back viewers. As you can see with the yeast now, it's got bubbles on top, which is called it's rose, it's proved, which means that the yeast is actually activated. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually make our dough. So we need 2 tablespoons of oil into that flour and salt that we mixed before. What I like to use is a nice broad blade knife to actually mix it in. So just pour that water in yeast into the flour. Mix it with the broad blade knife. Now this is where your hands have to get dirty. You've got to actually form that into a dough ball. Once most of it's combined, tip it out onto your bench and actually work it into a dough ball. Once we've got a dough ball like that, take one of the dish bowls that you used before, a little bit of oil in that bowl so that we can roll the dough into it. This is to stop the dough from sticking while it's rising. What we're going to do is going to take a cloth, going to place the cloth over that bowl, going to spray a little bit of water onto it. What we're trying to do is make humidity in the bowl that actually helps with the rising of the dough. And what we're going to do is, you can see the size of that at the moment. We're going to stick that in a nice warm place and leave it for an hour to rise, and then we'll come back and we'll turn it out. Okay. Welcome back, viewers. As you can see, our dough has about doubled or tripled in size. Now comes the part of rolling it out and actually forming our base. So put a little bit of flour on your table or wherever you're rolling it out.
Make sure it's clean.
Now this is critical. The more you work your dough, the tougher it's going to be. So what we want to do is we want to just knead it together until it becomes elastic. Don't overwork it. So that's enough, it's elastic. You can see it's stretchy. Now I'll be making my bases straight away, but if you want to, you can actually store this in the fridge for 3 to 4 days. Hasn't got any preservatives in it, so any longer than that, you can freeze it. But yeah, I wouldn't keep it for any longer than 3 or 4 days. I'm actually using rectangle pans. You can use round, square, whatever you want. I just find it easier to use rectangle because putting them in the oven, that way you can quite easily turn them and cook it evenly. What you're trying to do is get the dough to probably around about 2 to 3 millimeters thick. Lightly grease your pans. I've already done this before while the dough was proving. And just basically push it into the sides of your pan. Like I said, you don't want to work the dough too much because you'll take all the air out of it and it will end up tough. Once I've done this, I'll put some sauce on it and I'll put it in the fridge, and I'll leave it in the fridge, and I'll put my toppings on just before I'm ready to cook. By putting it in the fridge, what you're doing is you're deactivating the yeast, which will stop it from rising anymore. Spreading sauce. You can use whatever sauce you want. I find the Legos pizza sauce is probably one of the better ones. You can use tomato paste if you want, or you can use bolognese sauce. Sauce. Try to keep it probably a centimetre away from the edge, so you actually end up with a crust that will rise along the edge. Of course, you can top it straight away and cook it if you want, but yeah, I won't be cooking these straight away, so I'll be putting them in the fridge, and this afternoon, just before, probably about 10 minutes before cooking, I'll take it out and do all the toppings on them. There you have it, folks. 2 pizza bases, took me a bit over an hour to make, and yeah, they're ready for topping. yummy, no preservatives, and actually bases that the family will love. They're nice and fluffy when they're cooked. We'll show you later all the toppings and that on them, and then we'll cook them. And yeah, you'll see how they come out. Okay.